What's going on, guys? I'm Zach from the Lumios Post, where we talk about all things Pokemon, and today we are continuing our predictions on what Pokemon we could see in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. We previously did a video where we explored the early game Pokemon. That would be the regional rodent, regional bug, regional bird, and regional dog. And in today's video, we'll be covering more staples such as the fossils, the regional fish, the Pikaclone, and a few others. Before we begin, be sure to hit the like and subscribe button, hit the bell for notifications, as we plan on doing multiple of these. We're going to explore some more miscellaneous mons in the next video, and then we'll be moving into regional variants. We want to cover it all. So without further ado, let's jump right in. We're going to start out today's video with the regional fish. And for the fish, I think that we could see a hake that maybe evolves into a sturgeon. The hake is the national fish, of Spain, and I think that it would make a good base stage Pokemon, but as you can see, it's a very small fish, so I think that it should evolve into something else, and I say, what cooler of a fish than the sturgeon? For this sturgeon, I think we could see a water steel type for its armor-like scales, a water dragon for its almost dragon-like appearance, or a water fairy type. And the reason I say water fairy is because beluga sturgeons are kind of the #1 caviar that people search for, and caviar, beluga sturgeon is the most expensive one, the most supposedly the best one, and often we see delicacies portrayed as a fairy type, so maybe they could do something with that. Personally, I lean more towards water steel, water dragon. I would really like that a lot more. And for an ability for this guy, I think we could see multi-scale or Marvel scale. I feel like we definitely have to do something to kind of show off how cool those scales are. And next up, we have the Pikaclone. So since Generation 4, we've always had an electric type that kind of has the cheek pouch thing going on to resemble Pikachu, and since Generation 5 they have been adding another typing to the electric type with these Pokemon. So we've had Emolga, electric flying, we've had Togedemaru, electric steel, Dedenne, electric fairy. I know these aren't in order, guys. Morpeko is electric dark, and I think that this region we could see a beaver. The reason I say the beaver is because the Eurasian beaver is a common rodent in Spain. I think that while rabbits and mice are also common rodents as well there, I think that the beaver would be neat because it's not been done before for a Pikaclone. It's only been done for one other Pokemon, that being Bidoof and Bibarel, of course. And I think that the electric water typing is an underrepresented type, with only Lantern and Rotom Wash having those types. For an ability, I think that Static is definitely an option, but I also think that it could get Strong Jaw to show how powerful those teeth are that beavers have. Next up, we have the regional waifu. Yeah, we're doing this one too. So, there's always a Pokemon that is more feminine and is the kind that you can't Google search for, like Gardevoir, Lilligant, Sarina, Hatterene. So I think that we will probably get another one of these Pokemon. And I think that a great option for this would be something to do with vineyards and vines and maybe even maracas. And I think, of course, you have to implement flamenco dancing into it. I think that this would be a really great representation of the more refined, I guess you'd put it, parts of Spanish culture, with, of course, flamenco dancing and the maracas, and then the vineyards, the vine, because wine tasting and stuff, that's very popular in Spain. Spain is one of the biggest exports of wine. I think that grass fire could be a great typing for it. Grass because obviously vineyards, vines, and fire because flamenco dancers are typically depicted with those really dark red dresses, and when they're dancing it almost looks like flames moving. I think that Fiery Dance should definitely be a move that it gets in its moveset. I think so far Volcarona is the only Pokemon that gets that move, but I think they should pass it to this one as well. For abilities, I think there's Quick Feet and Cute Charm that are great options, but I think that the best option for this would be Dancer, which of course is currently only held by Oricorio, but I think it would be great to see it pass to this Pokemon as well, as both do have flamenco dancers. Oricorio has a form that is very similar to a flamenco dancer, and I think that this Pokemon sharing that trait, I think it would be great if they shared the ability as well. Next up, we have the Collectamon. This is the term used for the Pokemon where there are multiple different forms of them, which inspires people to catch multiple of that Pokemon, like Vivian, Alcremie, Minior. And I think that the Waifumon could fit with this, as maracas can vary in like the paintings on them. You have different types of grapes, and it's inspired by vineyards as well. And, you know, you could even do different dresses with the flamenco dancer aspect of it. But my personal favorite pick for this one would have to be the Rizzo's Dolphin. As you can see, this dolphin has multiple different like lines on it, these markings on it. I think it would be cool to take those and change it into constellations. You know, that way it would look very similar to Lunala, where it's like its body just has space all over it. I think it would be a really neat reference to the Age of Exploration, which Spain and Portugal were heavy players of. The reason this would be important is because they would use the stars to map in the Age of Exploration. That's how they know what direction to go. And dolphins migrate great distances, so it would be a cool little reference to that. You could have different constellations on it, maybe even incorporate Pokemon into it, where Ursa Major is actually Ursaring and Cancer is Kingler. Things like that will be a really neat thing to do with it. In terms of abilities, I tried to think of a good one for this Pokemon, but ultimately decided it needed a brand new ability altogether. I'm calling this ability Navigate, and this would allow all moves that this Pokemon uses to have 100% accuracy. So very similar to No Guard, which of course Machamp can have and Midnight Lycanroc can have, but it'd be a little bit different because instead of all moves this Pokemon uses and moves directed at this Pokemon landing, it would just be the moves this Pokemon uses. I'm thinking a Water Psychic type would be great for this Pokemon, and I think coupled with the ability Navigate, it would be really nice to see a Pokemon that has a 100% accurate Hydro Pump. This Pokemon to me is like an absolute dream come true. I really hope that if they don't go this route, we do see something with the Rizzo's Dolphin, because honestly, look at it. It's a beautiful animal. My next predictions are on the fossil Pokemon. Fossil Pokemon have been a staple since the very beginnings of Pokemon, way back in Gen 1. We didn't have one in Generation 2, but of course I don't think they were really doing patterns back then, as Generation 2 was intended to be the last Pokemon region. And then we didn't get them again in Alola, but I think that actually made sense, as there aren't really any prehistoric animals in Hawaii. There haven't been any fossils of prehistoric animals in Hawaii, so I think that actually did make sense for the region. In Spain, there are plenty of fossils, though, so I think we could see these again, and I'm going to go back to the traditional 2 fossils that we've gotten in Hoenn, Sinnoh, Unova, Kalos, even though we got 4 in Galar. That's a whole nother story, and those were very exclusive to their region as well. And I think that we should see some mammals this time. We've gotten our reptiles, of course. We've gotten mollusks with Amistar. We've gotten birds and Arcan. But I think we should finally get a mammal. We haven't gotten a prehistoric mammal yet in a fossil Pokemon. And so I think that the first one should be a woolly rhino that is rock fighting type with the ability Fur Coat. I think that would be so cool to see. I didn't know a woolly rhino was a thing until I was searching up prehistoric animals in Spain, saw this guy, and I need to have him. I need a true rhino that's on all fours. Rhyhorn kind of abandoned me with that and went to Rhydon and then Rhyperior, which is a design that I absolutely hate. But this woolly rhino, I think, could be the rhino that we need. For the second fossil, I think that the Agriarctos would be a great choice. This is kind of an inverted panda. The colors are inverted on it, and because of that, I don't know why, that's giving me Psychic vibes. So Rock Psychic, or I even think Rock Ghost, because it does look kind of spooky. I think that Sap Sipper would be a great ability for this. It would be very competitive, as it's got that grass weakness being a rock type. And I think it makes sense because pandas love bamboo. The last Pokemon we're going to talk about is the one that I think most people look forward to the most. I know that I look forward to this one a lot, and that is the regional, pseudo-legendary. Pseudo-legendaries are, of course, the terms given to these really powerful Pokemon that have legendary-like stats, but are not legendary Pokemon, such as Dragonite, Garchomp, Kommo-o. And I think for this one, we have to see something based off of the St. George Dragon. The St. George Dragon is a very important part of Spain's culture and history and beliefs. It's an old myth or fairy tale, and I think that we could see Dragon Poison as the typing, as some versions of the story about St. George and the Dragon state that the dragon was venomous. I think that Dragon Fairy would also be a good option and will be my personal favorite pick, as we've only seen that in Mega Altaria, and we haven't seen Mega Evolution since Gen 7, so if those don't come back, we don't have a Dragon Fairy type. And the reason I think Dragon Fairy is possible is because the dragon seemed to be magical in the story, as when it died, according to some versions, a spring appeared where it had died that healed all wounds and illnesses, while in other versions, it says that when it died, roses grew or exploded out of it. If it gets the poison type, I think that Poison Touch or even Corrosion would be great abilities for it. But if not, and it gets the Fairy type, which is what I'd personally hope, I would love to see Dazzling or Aroma Veil on it. I think those would be great abilities for it. I would love to see this Mon take shape. So there you have it, guys. That's all the staple Pokemon that we could see in the game. Again, be sure to check out the last video where we broke down the early game Pokemon. That is, once again, the rodent, the bird, the bug, and the dog of the game. In the next video, I will be talking about some of the just miscellaneous, random, not necessarily staple Pokemon we could see in the game. So be sure to subscribe, hit the bell for notifications so you don't miss that video. We've got tons of more planned after that, and we have, of course, tons of videos about Pokemon Scarlet and Violet that aren't necessarily around the Pokemon in the game planned. So please be sure to like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. I wouldn't want you to miss out on these videos. We've got so much cool stuff coming up. And I guess I'll head out now. Until next time, I will see all of you later.